Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hobby Dude 007 channel. Got some bench time today, so I want to bring you up to speed on where we are with Mustang Sally, some of the body work, a few things we've gotten done, and we're going to work on that body for just a little bit and do some test fitting. So let's get busy. Bring your model to life with MCV products. Visit them on the World Wide Web at mcvproducts.com. If you recall, in our last video, we had removed the firewall and inner fender wells because we're going to be replacing that with some new sheet metal, kind of more custom to a modernized Pro Touring car. And on the rear gravel pan and the front nose from the GT350R, the race version, we were filling in some holes, as you see here. And those turned out really nice. Filled it in with some styrene rod and then some putty, sanded that nice and smooth. So we've got that done, and as you see here, we've got those installed on the car now. And if you recall, we also used some styrene rod in the gas filler and the taillight mounts. Got something, I'll be sharing that with you when we get to it too. Got to make some change back here a little bit. All of this is nice, rounded, and smoothed off. The bumper, if you recall, came from the 350H, and those two down bars that were on here, we removed those, smoothed that out, and this is going to be body color anyway, but it looks, fits right up and looks pretty good. If I can get out of the light there, sorry. I may be having to make a change right down here, right about here, up to maybe right where this license plate part is. I'm not sure yet, but the modern air diffuser from underneath the car, and I'll share that with you here in a minute too. The trunk, went ahead and got that smooth as I showed you last time, and I was going to do just stock ribbing all the way around this, and I think I'm still going to do the outer stock ribbing. But in that it is a Pro Touring, I decided I think I'm going to do either flocking or to match the carpet in the car, either flocking or embossing powder, and do a panel like a carpeted cover would be over that, kind of attached to that ribbing in there. So give it a little more of a three-dimensional look. We did remove that keyhole there too. Moving forward, I decided, as you see here in these pictures, the vent window just, I don't know, for what I was doing, it just didn't quite look right. So as you see here, we removed that vent window, and I think that looks, personally, I think without the vent window, it looks a lot better and a little more custom Pro Touring type thing. Moving up to that nose, we went ahead and installed that. Got everything glazed and glassed in there, nice and smooth. Everything's looking pretty good. So what's up next is the little lip, the inside lip inside the deck lid here. We're going to be using some 10 thousandths styrene sheet, and we'll cut that out and get that installed. So how we're going to do that is I'm just going to take the trunk, add a few millimeters, lay this on cardstock first, add a few millimeters around, and then cut the rounded portions here. And we'll test fit that on cardstock and then transfer it to the sheet plastic. And I'll show you the cardstock when I get that done. And I might go ahead and do the other. Now, the other thing is, if you recall that diffuser I'm speaking of, this is, and by the way, where that hole was in the Salvino diffuser there, you see where we put a piece of styrene rod in there, sanded and threw a little mud on that, so a little putty on that, so that's looking good. But we're only going to use this back portion, so I think what I'm going to do is cut it right down through here and across here, and then we'll block this off in that it's kind of squared off on the back of the car, and this is rounded, we'll be blocking that off a little bit, just like we did with a Corvette. And then we'll adjust this size-wise to the chassis as it needs to be. And we're going to do some test fitting here in a little bit too, and see how much. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to have to tub these a little bit, so we'll have to do some cutting into this and making some tubs. But we'll check on that here in a little bit too. The only other thing is I made a change with the tires and wheels. I was going through my stash of wheels and tires. I got a whole box of those things that I've collected over the years, and I ran across several sets of aluminum wheels, and in that this is a Pro Touring, these just stuck out. And I thought with a good set of photo etch brakes behind that and the caliper, that wouldn't be a bad look either. And I think tucked right about there, and maybe a little lower, give it a little more of a rake in the front, maybe right about there. I don't know yet. This is the one thing I'm still up in the air about, is the tires and wheels. But I gotta say, these machined aluminum, I think I've had these for 20 something years, and I've got a number of other sets. This one just seemed to fit what I was going for here, at least to me right now. So let me know what you think. Okay guys, so I am going to go ahead and get this laid out, and speaking of which, we're probably going to take a look up here too. I have not built one of the engines yet. I've got one started, but I may have to finish it before I see how that's going to work in there, how far in those fender wells can come, because it's a pretty big engine, so for a 302 anyway. But we're going to see. We're going to see. So, all right, I'm going to get started on this, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and make my cuts on this, and we'll be right back. A lot of the ground effects on the modern supercars, as well as Pro Tourings, I think are pretty cool, whether it's up front or these rear diffusers you see often sticking out the back of these things. This is the one we just cut down that I was showing you. Always save those parts too, because you never know when you might be able to use something like that. I think that's kind of cool. Also, that belly pan portion, save all this stuff, guys, because you don't know when this stuff's going to come in handy. Who knows? I may cut down some more of this and end up using it on this build, so we just don't know. But on this diffuser, as you can see, I think this is going to look pretty good. Let's see, sitting right here, and as I mentioned earlier, I may notch this so this sits up in there, gives it a little more of a custom look. But I think that's going to add a bit to it as well. Moving to that trunk, as you see here, this is the template I made. I was out of cardstock, so I ended up doing it on just typing paper, and then transferred that over to 10 thousandths evergreen sheet plastic, and here's our result. Now I've got some sandpaper, some fine, that I'm going to clean up a little bit of the edges with. I did that before I put it in, but there's always a little bit extra to clean up here and there. But I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to bring this down right in here just a little bit to even it up. And then down here, it's a little bit low right here, the little rise right there. And we'll even all of that up too. But I think that looks pretty good. Usually when you're roughing stuff out like this, it's just that, it's rough. But you just take your time, and you can clean that right up very easily. And the trunk drops right on there. But of course, this is going to be in the up position anyway. And I still haven't made up my mind about the ribbing, whether I wanted to go ahead and do just the stock. And now that I look at this, I may just do the stock and leave it alone. And I still don't know. I may do that carpeted piece up in there. I always like to show off the scratch built ribbing. I think it just looks cool. So that's another one that's just up in the air. And by the way, what I use for most of this stuff is, I mentioned 10 thousandths. This is evergreen sheet plastic, and this is number 9008, and this is an assortment pack, so it comes with a full sheet of 10 thousandths, 20 thousandths, and 40 thousandths. And at most bills, I'll use all of them. When I do tubs, for example, I always like to use 20 thousandths. I have a separate pack of just 30. Occasionally I'll use that, but usually when I'm making tubs, I use 20 thousandths. Little things like this, I use the 10 thousandths. It bends, it works really well. So that's your number if you want to ever start doing this kind of stuff. That assortment pack is always a good thing to have around. Let's see. You know what? Let's go ahead and test fit. I just took out the chassis and the. I am going to cut that fuel cell off. I already know that because I'm going to have the fuel cell in the trunk that's kind of separate. Let's see here. That's a good fit, but I can tell already by these wheel wells that the wheels, and if I use these or use any wider, I knew I was going to have to come in here, but I can see right now that's not going to, oh yeah, that doesn't even go up in there far enough to do anything with. So we are going to have to make some tubs. So we'll be cutting and notching out the chassis here and making some larger, raising up some tubs. And that probably will require, look down in here, yes, that's going to require us to cut into this interior piece too and then raise it up. And that's okay. That's okay. I think that'll be pretty cool. Okay, and when we make our new firewall, we'll start out here like that. And you know, guys, I was going to go ahead and start on this inside wheel wells, but I actually think I'm going to hold off on that. And I know what I'm going to have to do now. I'm going to have to go ahead and make the chassis adjustments first, cut that fuel cell out. I'll probably thin down these chassis rails a little bit. That way our diffuser will, oh, look at that. If we cut that right there, that's going to come right almost where we, a little bit long, so we may have to shorten it up just a little bit. But once that fuel cell's out, this will lay a lot flatter there too, and then we'll determine the width for our wheel wells for the tubs. And that'll also, yeah, I need to go ahead and get an engine done so we can take a look at just where this is going to have to sit. New firewall, none of that's going to be a problem. In fact, that new firewall, I'll probably do 30 or even 40 thousandths to come out and down to that. But yeah, I think we're going to need to knock out an engine so we can, or do a quick mock-up of it so we can see how much room, so I can get that custom wheel well and firewall back in there too. And then we'll start getting on a little bit of that chassis and that interior. But I think, you know what, with the tubs into the interior too, I think that's going to look pretty good. All right. Okay, guys. And we'll also, by the way, have to make a, since that deck lid's going to be open with that fuel cell, the sump tank, the battery I probably will locate back there. Oops. But you know, that floor flushes right up to the bottom really well. We'll just build in a floor back there and probably some bulkheads. Yeah, you can see over in the corners there, and we'll build some bulkheads up in there. But that'll have to be after we get those tubs in there too. So, all right, guys. So we're going to be working on an engine next time, and I'll probably show you a little bit of an update on what I've gotten done to the chassis thus far. And that's going to be it for this go round, guys. But I think we're looking really good. I think Sally will be happy. And I've got to finish her hair too. I keep getting the paint out to do that, and I get focused on the car or something else. So, okay, guys. I hope y'all have an awesome weekend. God bless. Love you guys. See you in the next video.